Indian Scott digging through the past. Crazy tales they uncover fast. History's stranger than you think. They'll also talk about wieners in a blink. They'll talk about wieners in a blink. Oddball history.
A boom, boom, boom.
How? We are going to do an 80s rap one of these days to start.
We're going to do a check, a 1, 2, 1, 2.
And everybody will turn the episode off. Everybody will be like, oh, that's an I'll check off.
The end of the podcast. Two middle-aged white guys are rapping with microphones. But yeah, this week we're doing the
you know how they beatbox?
Street Gangs of Yesteryear.
That's right.
We're doing. We got our table back. Big news.
Hell yeah. It is big news.
Haven't put stuff back on the wall yet. I'm working on it. It's okay. But yeah, we're doing the Street Gangs of Yesteryear.
Yeah, the street gangs when times were simpler, but sometimes not.
Sometimes much more
there were much more street gangs than polices.
Yes. They had fun dances.
They did. They had flair. That's what I appreciate about these street gangs. They had a real pizzazz about them.
Yes. We're covering, there's a French subculture. It's spelled Apaches, but they pronounce it Apache.
Les Apaches.
Les Apaches.
And they were huge.
They were a big deal.
Everyone loved them. I mean, besides the people that they were terrorizing.
Yeah, except for the citizens.
Everyone else was like, these guys are really cool.
Sweet. And then pretty much the Gangs of New York, that movie was based on real gangs.
Yeah, we're basically doing the biggest rumble between the Dead Rabbits and the Bowery Boys, the main two principles from the movie. But a different I don't think the movie covered the specific riot we're talking about.
And then we're going to do a brief stop at the Gopher Gang.
That's right.
Pretty much just because it's a funny name.
It's a funny name.
And there's one funny fella.
And I just want to say the names out loud on the podcast. When I read them, I was like, oh, yeah, those are some good old time gangster names.
One Lung Karen.
Yeah. And, well, we'll get it. I don't even want to spoil it. I'm keeping this behind my back right now.
Okay.
Because I want the people to I want them to hear the grouping of names.
Yes.
That is the top Gopher Gang. We don't even have a full roster. We don't even know. There could have been more great names, but we just have like the head guys. Yeah. And even among them, almost every name funny as shit.
Yes. Good, clean fun. Mm-hmm. And then, so before we get into that, the top
40
comments.
elephants.
40 elephants.
But we'll get to them.
Yeah.
Top comments of the week.
Welcome to the top comments, but first a joke by me AI. One day, St. Peter saw a street gang walking up to the pearly gates. St. Peter ran to God and said, "God, there are some low-life gang members at the gates. What do I do?" God relied, "Just do what you normally do with that type. Redirect them." St. Peter went back to carry out the order, but he suddenly came running back and yelling, "God, God, they're gone, they're gone!" God replied, "The street gang? No, the pearly gates. Did they really take the gates? Or is there more to this heavenly heist?" Such stories remind us that history is full of surprises, often blending fact with fiction in the most entertaining ways. Now let's explore some top comments. Chaos reigns.
All right, our first one comes from Ben Backpacking.
Oh, yeah. Great comment and message.
Yeah, he said, "Howdy, friends. Watching the clips on hangings. I have quite the hanging story involving my Cherokee ancestor. Very white-looking fella."
Yeah.
It's not terribly long, but I can message it here. And then he sent it to us. And this is about Andrew Jackson Lambert.
Cool-ass name. Cool-ass story. Name. This is North Carolina, 1886.
Yep, a Cherokee miner.
They called him a Cherokee of steady business habits.
Yes, that's as good as you
Which
can
is
get.
Like them saying he's one of the good ones.
Yeah, he talks well, But, he was... This is kind of the shady beginnings of the story, is he says his gun was stolen.
Yeah, he gets caught up in a murder that he likely didn't commit.
Yeah.
A man deathbed confessed to it years later, actually.
And they kind of knew who did it, but they threatened the family. Like, hey, if you roll on us, we're going to kill everyone. So how about one of you guys dies
instead of all of
else? And we're like, that seems like a pretty fair deal.
Yeah.
And so he gets hung, and he, in a weird twist, he requests a short rope.
Yep. He says no long drop for me.
Which, as we learned in the capital punishment episode, the long drop breaks your neck and kills you instantly, and a short rope chokes you to death, which took him 14 minutes.
Yeah.
And then the family rushed him away and attempted to revive him, and they said that was unsuccessful.
Damn.
Which they really shot, the old choke to death and do CPR trick, trying to get out of an execution. A classic.
Yeah. Yeah, I did like that they attempted tried to revive him with galvanized batteries, brandy, and aromatic spirits. That's just, we have 3 solutions. 2 of them are booze, and the other one is we're going to shock you.
Yeah.
That's the 19th century for you, baby.
They got close, though,
But then, and then I love that they're people went to their graves being like, oh, that guy we buried, that was a bunch of rocks. That was not.
I think.
And then paired with.
The less fun version of the story is he just died.
It was one of his brothers.
No,
it was one of because someone saw someone around the town.
The brothers looked alike,
and there was another relative of theirs who came because the guy was being executed. So he wasn't from the town, so a lot of people think it could have been him too, because he was another guy who looked like these guys that was suddenly. But yeah, no, I like to think that he went down to what was the town in Mexico? From Shawshank. Yes.
I like how I just immediately said he's going to go down, and I was like, he's talking about Shawshank. I don't. That's fine.
Zihuatanejo.
I'm going to edit that out.
You should. Thank you.
I don't remember it. But I think the guy just died.
Probably.
And someone confused his brother for him, and they were like, maybe. And then all the family was cagey about answering questions because their, son, uncle, brother was murdered. And they're like, I don't really like talking about it.
Yeah.
But
I'm not here to do a bunch of interviews.
that is the story of Ben Backpacking's Cherokee ancestry.
Yeah, Andrew Jackson Lambert. You can look it up.
And if you want to check out, Ben is into hiking in the Appalachian Mountains. He's got some
damn,
cool
that's
stuff.
cool.
Check him out on Instagram, Ben Backpacking.
Hell yeah.
And the next one was the Rommel clip, Erwin Rommel.
Oh yeah, interesting stuff.
Somewhat, we got a lot of comments. My favorite femboy in all of history.
Sure. Which, all right, here, I did a little research.
Yeah.
He dressed in drag once in college. That's what it is. There's a picture of him with 3 of his pals in college dressed in drag.
Which I was
and that's, I think, the genesis of all of this.
Where there's nothing really that he was gay or anything, which is just I don't know. You don't have to be kind to Nazis in history.
Yeah.
He had one pic from college, dressing in drag with the boys, having a goof.
Yeah.
Now he's a femboy on the internet.
Yeah. I kind of love it.
Erwin Rommel's a femboy.
There's lots of funny Erwin Rommel saying trans rights memes
really?
that I saw. There's a whole,
That's what a weird subset of the internet.
Yeah.
Yeah. Rommel was a femboy. Hitler was a twunk.
A twunk.
It's an aging twink. I learned
that. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Funny.
I didn't know that term.
So now we're learning.
We are learning. That's what I like about this podcast. Is learning.
Now this one was about Scott's ran about John Ritter.
Ooh yeah.
His Scott didn't see the charm of John Ritter in high school, which is what I imagine high school Scott
I
thinks
told
about.
everyone about it, and then John Ritter died the next day.
Yeah.
And then, even in the clip, I'm like...
Backtrack on it a little.
Yeah. I'm like, I understand it now. I realize now he was a good sitcom actor. Actually, he came on an episode of Mary Tyler Moore I was watching last night.
Ooh. But this guy comments, let me meet this guy. Please, Lord, let me meet this guy in an alley with no security cameras.
He, in his fantasy, he's definitely wearing fingerless gloves.
Yes.
And he's 190 pounds lighter than he is in real life. And he's just waiting for me.
Are you saying this is a big fat man?
I'm saying almost certainly.
I think are you hating on Big J. Okerson right now? Fat guy with fingerless gloves?
No, I don't think
that felt like a shot.
No, I don't think it's him. I just think it's someone who might somewhat resemble him.
Yeah, there we go.
But less athletic. Probably more like the guy from South Park, the World of Warcraft episode.
There we go.
I'm thinking more that body type. But in
fella.
his, actually, that's what in his fantasy, he does look like Big J. Okerson. I think that's what
that's his goal body.
he has an earring too.
Yes.
Yes.
I just loved how aggressive that was. Big John Ritter stan. you know?
Yeah.
We thought
yeah.
the Elvis crowd was fired up.
The Ritter Hive is ruthless.
Those Ritter heads.
You know the thing about the Ritter Hive, though, is you just have to put a hammock in front of them, and they'll trip right over it every time.
Very
Also,
clumsy group.
jokes on you, dipshit. I only hang out in alleys with really like a lot all security
brightly
cameras,
lit security
state of the art security cameras. So there
safety.
goes your plan.
All right. We got another one for 7 Brides for 7 Brothers. Got a
Sure,
fresh
the
comment
people
on that.
love it.
Said this movie is amazing. Life was simpler back then.
That's right.
There's half of the comments are just people opining for a time
They're
where
like-
you could capture ladies.
Yeah. You just had to steal them from the town and then return to your home in the mountains, which can only be accessed during the spring months, and then cause an avalanche, and then they'll fall in love with you, and then shotgun weddings for all.
Back when men were men.
That's right. And everyone danced on beams of wood very jauntily.
And then we have farm welding.
Our man's Nick
sent him from the podcast a wedding gift. So
hell yeah.
got him a sausage stuffer. I feel like that might get there before this podcast comes out.
Yeah. All right.
I thought that was funny.
That's a great gift.
Yeah. So,
A sausage stuffer.
but it was on the clip about composers getting their heads stolen, and he said head game meant something way different 500 years ago.
Yeah.
That's the cock talk we've come to know and love.
That's right. It is. And it's very true. And it makes me, it made me wonder if Joseph Carl Rosenbaum, speaking of head game, do you think when he was keeping Joseph Haydn's head away from the authorities, do you think he ever did any and one mixtape moves with it? Like he was like acting like he was going to give it to him, but then he put it in his shirt and hid it on the side. So it flew out the side and went to his wife, and his wife ran off with it.
Yes. I imagine
That
when the authorities were looking for Joseph Haydn's head, there was a whole Harlem Globetrotters scene that took place.
It would be so funny.
What was that song?
Sweet Georgia Brown.
Sweet Georgia Brown.
Do, 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 do.
But yeah, that's all for the top comments. So now we're getting to the Street Gangs of Yesteryear.
That's right. The street gangs of yesteryear, the classiest street gangs of all.
I love that all in the 1800s, like the Warriors wasn't that far off.
These are the armies of the night.
Can you dig it? Can you dig it?
The Furies. The Boppers. The Hi-Hats. The Lizzies.
And
You had your boys, you had silly outfits, and you fought.
And you fought with brick bats, and
Yes.
you all wore like sashes to identify yourselves. And the names, again,
In
the
Melee.
names might be the best part.
Yes.
The names are so good, like the lingo. I remembered that from the movie Gangs of New York, but it really panned out.
You think the movie's a little cartoony at times, but they really did have we're the ascot dudes.
Yep.
And we're the Bowery Boys. We wear top hats.
We wear
when
top hats.
Yeah.
We were silken top hats, and we're very tough.
But so in France in the 1800s, there was a group called the Apaches, Les Apaches.
Les Apaches.
And there's actually a movie in 2023 about them, but it was in French. So
That's right.
I didn't
So
really pay much attention to it.
yeah,
And they had a big street violence problem.
they
Because
did.
they had a lot of youth and the economy was bad, so there was not a lot of opportunity. And then World War I is really what solved that for them.
Yep.
They just kind of had to thin the herd a little bit. And
Yeah,
it was,
Yeah, really.
Hey.
That's a really dark element of this. This happens like a
Yes.
couple times in our story because the gangs in New York, it was kind of the Civil War that everyone
Yeah.
that like kind of suddenly there are a lot less young men.
Hey, rent's cheaper all
With-
of a sudden.
Yeah. Weird.
I wonder what happened.
So yeah, but at the height, it's like okay. So I was learning about the Belle Epoque
Yeah.
in France. This is the period between the Franco-Prussian War and World War I. That's when Les Apaches were at their biggest, probably. In 1907, it was estimated there are 30,000 Apaches in Paris with 8,000 policemen. So they're just running
amok.
circles around these mooks. They had a very
They're with the clothes
particular fashion.
They wore like bell bottoms with pointed yellow boots and golden buttons.
That's
Pretty
right.
much looking just fly as fuck.
Yeah.
That is the only way.
Flat caps, those shirts with the horizontal stripes that
Yeah.
French people love so much. I forget what they're called. They have a name though.
They would fit in a CeeLo Green music video.
They really would.
You know?
Or like walking into an NBA playoff game.
Yeah, courtside seats.
the like or like as a player.
Yeah.
You know, one of those
yeah,
guys.
well,
They would they did wear flat caps, classic gangster shit like the Peaky Blinders do, but they didn't keep razor blades in there. They had different moves. They had their own weapon, the Apache revolver, which it's insane looking.
We'll put a picture up, obviously,
Yeah.
but yeah, it's like a what do they call it? Matchbox revolver,
Yes,
because it doesn't have a barrel.
because it doesn't have a barrel.
So it's
imagine just like
A revolver with no barrel, and so it's wildly inaccurate. It has, instead of a barrel, it has a knife.
and then the handle is brass knuckles.
So, which I was looking at a thing, and it said it tried to combine 3 weapons and did a terrible job at all 3. Like, it was a bad gun, it was a bad knife, and it was bad brass knuckles.
Yeah.
But it looked scary.
But
it was pretty cool.
It looked so cool.
And a thing called a knuckle duster.
Yep.
What an all-time cool name.
Yeah, you got to have a knuckle duster if you're
gotta have
a
it.
Belle Epoque street gang. They
They had their own dance.
had their own dance, Le
Dance
Danse
Apache.
Apache. That it was basically like pantomiming a pimp attacking a prostitute. Basically, they were having they were always using euphemistically a conversation between a pimp and a prostitute, but it's like a lot of mock slaps. They said it was very much like pro wrestling, which I was
Yeah.
like, you haven't seen much pro wrestling, have you? Yeah,
I do like that the Dance Apache is miming beating up a prostitute, and it's a hit.
people
the kids,
love it.
It's all the rage. People are all about it.
Yeah.
Which they say rap music today is bad, but I mean it's kind of been the same thing forever. You know?
Yeah, it has.
It's okay. Quit hating on everybody.
Yep. They had lots of crazy maneuvers that they would use in victimizing the folks in Paris. They were
There was like another martial art that was formed to combat them, and so there's a lot of cool diagrams online about like old
Yes.
pictures and things of teaching people how to combat. Because essentially their main move was they'd sneak up on you, look down, and then headbutt you.
yeah.
The old headbutt double leg takedown.
Mm-hmm. They
A
had
classic.
variations on it. Sometimes they'd throw their hat in your face.
It's just odd job.
Yeah, they would ask for the time and tip their cap to you, and when you reached in your pocket
Yes.
for your pocket watch, they would throw the hat, headbutt you in the solar plexus, rob you.
You know, you never think these things need to be written down, but it was like a very jingle the keys, poke them in the eye.
Yeah,
Like that was a move.
and it was like reflected in fashion too. Like people would wear coats, like overcoats made of really heavy shit, specifically so if they were getting attacked by Apaches, they could use it to like
Defend
to
themselves.
take blows
Yeah.
from the knives. And various weapons they had. Another of their moves was called the coup du père Francois, which
the trick of the father or the shot of the father. one of
That's
those two.
right. Yes, and yeah, the I think it's the blow of Father Francois is
Yeah.
how I read it, but that's basically it. And really funny move to see illustrated. They would garrote a person, and then lift them, turn around and lift them onto their back, so they go piggyback. So now the guy's legs are up in the air, and then the other Apaches come and steal all their shit while they're helplessly up in the air. And they're like, people did sometimes die for this. It's not just funny.
Whoops.
It was like they knew that we were chuckling at it, and they were like, people were hurt.
We did this before the Three Stooges kind of did stuff that looked like this.
That's right. This was like dark Three Stooges. Okay, nothing funny about it.
Not a thing funny,
except for the legs in the air. That's really funny.
But that was the Les Apaches. But one of my favorite stories about them was there were two famous leaders of two kind of different rival gangs.
Yeah, different factions.
And this was about the Golden Helmet Prostitute.
Yeah, Amélie Elie.
Amélie, which I have to imagine is like a bad translation for a blonde lady.
I was thinking the same thing. Casque d'or. Maybe in French, the connotations are like helmet, golden helmet.
Yeah, the Golden Helmet whore, which... pretty cool name, regardless.
It is a cool name, GH.
But she was a prostitute, and she was
she had golden hair. Yeah. She had beautiful golden hair.
And so this story revolves, Leka and Manda.
Yeah. Manda is the original that she is with, and then she leaves him for Leka, Francois Eugene Lecoq. Funny name.
And so because she's with Leka now, Manda stabs him. Put that on your tally, everyone.
That's right.
The Golden Helmet Prostitute breaks up with Manda, gets with Leka. Manda stabs Leka.
Yeah.
Then
Leka...
they don't talk to the cops.
He's an Apache through and through. He's like, he's stabbed to shit, but he's like, I will not talk to you. That's what he said. He definitely spat. He did the French spitting on the ground thing.
They release Manda. He promptly leaves jail and then stabs Leka 3 times.
That's right. He he got out of, like, when the cops released him, he immediately went and attacked this hotel that Leka and Golden Helmet were staying in, and nobody was hurt that time, but war gets declared, and then he stabs him. They stab him 3 more times. Again, Leka refuses to talk to the cops.
Like we got a code, snitches get stitches, even though he's gotten a lot of stitches already.
He's gotten so many stitches.
So for the 3rd and final time, in the defense of his honor of this prostitute leaving him, Manda shows up, and Leka gets shot 3 times, twice in the arm, once in the leg, or twice in the leg, once in the arm.
Yeah, that's right.
And his father's the one that steps in and goes, Jesus Christ, it's that guy.
Yeah,
let's cut this out.
Yeah, he gets... the whole thing is insane. After the shooting, he gets out of the hospital and they attack the cab he's leaving in. But then, his dad's like, this is stupid. Come on. This is how many times... anyway, Manda flees. He goes to London for a week, lays low. Then, for some reason, goes right back to France and is immediately arrested. Him and Leka...
A nice twist of fate here.
Kind of like Almost Famous, where the 2 guys end up together.
I was thinking of the movie Life. It's the plot to that.
Oh my God, yeah, it is.
Or it's different, but so
it's like
Manda gets sent to what is it?
It's Belle Epoque life.
Southern
the penal colony in French Guyana and South America.
And then eventually later on, Leka gets arrested for attempted murder and goes to the same penal colony with Manda.
Yeah,
which I imagine they gotta have a good sense of humor about it once you're both in a penal colony.
Now that you said that, I imagine it's exactly like life.
Yeah,
like they hate each other at first, but then they learn that they're 20 years goes by and they realize that they're friends because one of them the camp guard is like one of them has to stand on bottles and the other one gets a gun and he's like, I want you to shoot his ass if he falls off the bottles. And whereas at one time the guy would be like, I'd love to shoot him. Now they're friends, and now he's like, fuck you, I'm liable to shoot you with this gun. And then so he ends up standing on bottles too,
just like that. Just like that.
Shout out Life.
Yeah.
Really good movie. Really downplays the sadness of the story on the DVD box, I remember.
Really?
It's like a wacky comedy.
Oh, yeah, like
starring Martin. I was like,
like
this
the
is
trailer
about
for it.
These men lose their lives.
Yeah. But and then now we're going to the gangs in New York.
The gangs of New York.
With the Dead Rabbits riot of
1857.
1857.
That's right. The time was right for rioting.
Yes.
New York was nothing but riots. I came away wanting to do an episode just about riots. There were so many riots. There was one over actors. Did you see that?
I didn't see
we
the
need to get
actor
into
riot.
that. Well, it had to do with anti-British sentiment.
Okay.
But it was it was about actors. I didn't actually read completely into it, so I should probably not have said anything and saved it for a future episode.
The Dead Rabbits, a.k.a. the Mulberry Boys, a.k.a. the Roach Guard, some defects from the Roach Guard.
Yeah, they broke off from the Roach Guards, they say, in the 1830s.
And they were all Irish immigrants.
That's right.
And they were squared against the Bowery Boys, who were nativist.
Nativists, yet also Irish immigrants.
They were Irish immigrants from 10 years ago.
Yeah, the real Bill the Butcher called himself a native, but he was fucking Irish.
Which is a real pull the ladder up when you get a little ahead in life. You know?
That's
like, hey,
these
fuck
guys.
all the new ones.
We're the native borns, and that was their deal. They loved the Know Nothing Party. The Dead Rabbits supported Tammany Hall.
The Know Nothing Party. You know where that name came from?
Because when people would ask them what their party was about, they would say that
we know nothing.
We know nothing.
Which means you're really proud of what you're putting down.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
It's like we're being racist monsters, but just come on. Come along for the ride.
Yeah. And that's also funny in politics to be like, so what do you believe? And you're like, shut up. Why do you? Whoa.
But they were big on like women's rights.
Oh, the know-nothings?
So, don't throw the baby out with the bathwater.
Yeah, all right. Good on them.
It's not all bad.
It's not all bad. But so the Dead Rabbits, they hate the Bowery Boys, and the Bowery Boys hate them. Dead Rabbits, they had 200 goddamn gang battles over a span of 10 years. The Bowery Boys and the Dead.
Which they said they outnumbered the militia and the police.
Yeah, starting in 1830.
Times.
Yeah, starting in 1834, 200 gang battles, and yes, they outmanned both the police and the state militias. And weirdly, this is after our riot comes after things have slowed down a little bit. They're not fighting at quite such the clip as they were.
But the Bowery Boys had a hangout called the Green Dragon, and the Dead Rabbits.
Cool name.
Very cool name. The Dead Rabbits show up, trash the place, drink every drop of booze, and then vengeance must be, which is a very, cartoonishly Irish thing to do.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, which is good.
And I'm sure, at the time, it seems like it's still like cowboy times where everyone drinks all day. So that's like really taking something that they're counting on.
Yeah.
The Bowery Boys. So yeah, they're fired up. It starts with like a couple of small skirmishes. Like before the Green Dragon, the Bowery Boys I think tried to the Rabbits tried to attack a different place, but they got turned away. There are a bunch of little fights, but it is turning into a riot. And meanwhile, the metropolitan and municipal police forces are each saying the other is responsible. They're both like, not our problem. Yeah. And so the riot is just building and building.
But it cracked me up at the very kind of beginning of it when the riot was starting. One cop who was like on like the beat cop in the area was just like, oh shit, something's popping off. And so he tried to whack his way through the crowd.
Yeah.
And then both sides just kicked the shit out of him.
It seems so cartoonish. Yeah. It seems like he was in a cloud of dust, and then it spat him out, and he was stripped of his uniform.
I respect the guy's hustle. Can you imagine being a cop with just a billy club?
And he's
looking at 300 people in a fist fight in the middle of the street and being like,
I'm doing this shit.
I'm going in.
I'm doing
He
this
was
shit.
trying to get to the leaders, which is why he started whacking through the crowd, not realizing that might not have been the best plan in the world. But
Yeah, they beat the shit. Yeah, they steal his uniform. I'm learning that happened a lot in gangs in New York. Times they're always, but so he actually manages to escape. He crawls hands and knees in his underwear, and then runs down to the Metropolitan Police Station to tell them what's happening, and then collapses.
Yeah.
And then so the Metropolitan,
the Paul Revere of the gangs of New York,
just in his underwear, booking it down the street. The Metropolitan Police, I'm guessing, didn't get from his story quite the scope of what was going on, because they send a small force out that just immediately gets the shit kicked out of them too. They
eventually do quell the riot, and I think 8 people died and 100 were injured.
Yeah,
which they say there could have been way more dead, that they were just hiding them, but.
Yeah, and it takes the militia coming in. Like, it goes for 2 days. There's a, like, when they bring the first police force, and they pelt them. They run into houses and go up to the rooftops and start pelting all the cops with brick bats and shit. And when they flee, like, they at a point have arrested 2 of the leaders of the Dead Rabbits, but when they run up to the rooftops and start pelting them, they let them go and eventually leave. So there is like a small break in the middle where there was like a truce, because they were so happy with the fact that they had defeated the cops and turned them back. But eventually, large police force returns. They're getting fucked up too, but eventually the state militia gets called in. That's at like 9 p.m. on July the 5th. So this started the morning of July the 4th. It's been going on all this time. By the end, there in the Bowery, they've like set up like push carts as as what do you call them? Barricades, and they're taking shots at each other from behind their like push carts and shit. Crazy
Good,
times.
Clean fun, you know?
Yeah, 8 killed, 30 to 100 wounded, and they think that number might be low because a lot of them were carried off by people and buried in secret passageways.
Think there would be more shooting going on.
Yeah,
I guess guns were pricey.
Guns were pricey.
You think like one guy with a handgun really could have done some damage.
Yeah. Well, I read one Dead Rabbit did have a handgun and did do damage at one point. It was during the part when all the barricades were out. He stepped out in front and shot 2 different Bowery boys, and then he was knocked unconscious. It doesn't say how, but it said by the little brother, by like a kid, by like a little brother of a Bowery boy. So he chucked a rock at his head or something. But ridiculous, crazy fight.
And the Gopher Gang was there. They were another gang of New York.
Oh, that's right. That's we didn't properly introduce. This was like a Royal Rumble of street gangs. Yes. This riot. This was not. It wasn't as in the movie. The Dead Rabbits like kind of raised like a bunch of people, but so it was. The sides are the Dead Rabbits, the Roach Guards, the Plug Uglies, the 40 Thieves, the Shirt Tails, the Carryonians, and the Municipal Police versus the Bowery Boys, the Atlantic Guards, the O'Connell Guards, the American Guards, the True Blue Americans, and the Metropolitan Police. Each side gets a police force.
Yes.
Which is very fun.
The Bowery Boys sides sounds like Republican super PACs.
It really does. True Blue Americans.
True Blue Americans.
They really do. Oh my God, Bill the Butcher would do so well.
He would be a right-wing grifter on social media right now. He'd be killing it.
That's right. And they'd be like, I like the way he can throw knives.
That's kind of neat.
That's cool. I like his mustache. I like how he goes, whoopsie daisy. Remember that? When he threw the knife
Leonardo DiCaprio was talking about getting Daniel Day-Lewis to do that role. Like Martin Scorsese made him go talk to him.
Really?
He was the one who had to because he was like a cobbler in Italy at the time.
Oh yeah,
which is awesome.
That is awesome.
Yeah, he had to go to Italy and be like, "Hey, Daniel, we got a movie for you."
Yeah,
like, I'm a cobbler now.
What is it with cobbling? That's been coming up so much lately.
All the raves.
It is. Everybody just can't stop talking about cobbling.
Yeah. William Marwood,
It's on everybody's mind.
just fixing shoes, you know?
We have one of the ladies in 40 Elephants married a shoemaker after she was done.
cobbling.
After she was done with
I wanna talk
Big and
about
40 Elephants.
The Gopher Gang, they were one of the gangs kind of around that time.
Yeah.
And their leader, this is a New York gang, was One Lung Curran.
Yeah.
Which you got to wonder, is that literal or a metaphor? Was he just an out-of-shape fella, or did he have one lung?
Yeah, I did not read far enough to know
Yeah.
if One Lung Curran had
One lung or not?
Yeah. He might have just who knows? Didn't a lot of people have tuberculosis back then?
But
It seems like
his big
likely.
move, which was kind of a fad at the time, is if you found a cop alone, you'd beat him up and steal their outfit,
yeah, you
get it
steal their
tailored.
uniform.
and then wear it out in the street, which is quite the flex.
It is. It became like a huge thing because of One Lunker. He would steal their uniform, take it to his girlfriend for alterations, which I love. He's like, I'm not gonna wear an ill-fitting
like a
cop's
costume.
uniform.
Yeah.
Even it's a bit, but he's like, I
I
still
want a little pizzazz. You know,
yeah, I want to look cool.
a little slimmer fit.
And then so everybody's like, "Oh fuck, I want a cop uniform," which is very funny. Like, do you think they were doing impressions of the cops that they had taken the uniform? They're like, "Oh, look at me! I'm trying to keep watch of the Bowery."
Yeah, it was definitely a little kid trying his dad's suit on energy. Like, ooh, I'm a big man.
Duh, I'm Officer Sullivan. I like to think that was like that truly filled their days.
Yes.
In the days after they took the uniforms.
And then the last one's the 40 Elephants.
Oh wait, I had another word on the Gopher Gang.
Okay, tell me.
I just want to say these names, all right?
Oh, that's right.
That's the main reason I wanted to include them. Okay, the Gopher Gang started in the 1890s by Marty Brennan, Newberg Gallagher, and Stumpy Malarkey. Stumpy Malarkey? Are you fucking kidding me? Other famous members include...
That's a bad comedy name. Stumpy Malarkey.
Stumpy Malarkey.
I imagine in the 1800s they would be like, that's a decent porn name.
Yeah.
Like their version of it.
Yeah. Or he sounds like he could be a good baseball player too.
Yeah, for sure.
If you put
He's a
that name
catcher.
in like the old section of the Hall of Fame, I'm not batting an eye.
Yeah, Stumpy
I'm like,
Malarkey.
I think I remember Stumpy Malarkey.
Yeah,
I think
catcher
he
for
was
the
a second baseman
For the Reds.
for the Browns.
1912.
That's right. Other famous members of the Gopher Gang include Oni Madden, James Biff Ellison, and Goo Goo Knox. That's right, Goo Goo Knox. Fucking A. That's fucking insane. Anyway, but that's all I have on the Gopher Gang. I just wanted to say Goo Goo Knox.
Their name
and
was
Stumpy
silly.
Malarkey.
Their gang's name was silly. Their names were silly.
Their gang basically died out in 1917 with
once
One Lung
died,
Curran.
he was kind of the glue holding Stumpy and Goo Goo together.
Yeah, and it's not the Gopher Gang, but I have a successor that like the 5 Points Gang. A lot of former Dead Rabbits at a point became YOs. That was the new 5 Points Gang. And I don't have much on the YOs, only that I saw one of their famous members, Piker Ryan, was once arrested by the NYPD in 1884. And just to give you a look at gang life in the late 19th century, he had this like menu on him that was offering different services that he could give you. It says punching $1, both eyes blacked $3. That's a good deal. Nose and jaw broke $7.
That's a mighty cheap price for
Yeah. Jacked out, knocked out with a blackjack. Which I'm glad they said
We
that.
need to clarify.
I would not have been sure if jacked out meant blackjack.
I'll do violence for under 10. Over 10, it's getting sexy.
But that's 15. Ear chewed off, $15. Look, this guy,
means business.
He means business. Leg or arm broke, $19. Shot in the leg, $20. Why is that? I don't know. You would think shot in the leg would be cheaper than leg or arm broke. That seems more
damaging to the person
and labor intensive.
Yeah.
Stabbed $22 doing the big job, in parentheses murder. We gotcha.
Yeah.
$100 and up. So I don't know.
Yeah, it was dependent on the scenario.
What's driving those prices up?
My favorite two, obviously, are getting jacked out and doing the big job.
Yeah.
So, you know.
If you just heard those two, you would be like, I don't know.
Okay. Whoa. Hey.
I don't know what Piker Ryan's up to here.
Yeah, I think I know.
But yeah, so where are we going
elephants.
now? The 40 elephants, the London girl gang that shoplifted
girl bossing around
all of London and every city around for like 100 years, more than 100 years. They were so good.
Where ladies at the time wore a lot of layers of clothing, and it was considered rude to like look at a lady or follow them around a store.
Yeah.
So just the act of them being ladies that did crime gave them a wide berth to get away with stuff.
It was like a superpower. They have all these, like, imagine all the layers that ladies wore in the 19th century anyway. All the shit you could cram in there. And then they had like secret pockets and like specially designed garments that had, it was basically Marge Simpson at the candy convention. That's like the 40 that's like a 40 elephants. Actually, that's one of the, they say that's one of the, it's probably the 40 elephants comes from like that they broke off from like a gang called 40 Thieves and an Elephant and Castle gang. But they also say it came from one of their leaders once showed up and she was so boxy from all the shit she had stolen that they said she looked like the queen of 40 elephants. Which is a cool origin story. Way cooler than it's just like we're friends with the elephants. But they were friends with the elephants and them, they kind of complemented each other. The elephants, like the men's gang, they like kind of, there was a lot of dating between them but the men's gang would like help protect shipments of stolen shit and provide violence if needed occasionally.
Socially, it was like two private schools, like an all girls and an all boys that intermingle, but more crime.
That's right.
Yeah,
they had the dances together. And
they do prom together.
They kind of knew each other, but it was they were so damn good. They operated, with impunity for a long time, and then they would dress like rich women too. So like even on top of the modesty of the time, we're not looking at women. They're definitely not looking at rich seeming women. And because they'll let you have it. They'll talk to your manager. They'll get you in trouble. They're not scared to. So they would dress like rich women. They would have like distractors, like essentially rodeo clowns who would work with the people who were boosting all the shit. And then if they saw like a store clerk like kind of taking their attention over there, they'd be like, "Tell me about this muff here," and then bam, they're out of there.
They had another one where they would a group of them would gather around a guy by himself and accuse him of assaulting them.
One lady is like, "Do you have directions?" And the guy's like, "Sure, you go this way." And then another lady runs
other ladies roll up yelling
like,
at
"He
you.
assaulted me." And then like, "Give us some money, or we're not going away. We're going to keep loudly telling everyone you assaulted us." And then apparently a lot of the times he would pay, but if he wouldn't, they would just pickpocket him and run off. That's funny. That's a good fallback plan,
Always is.
They had other businesses. They would get
they would get fake references for each other. and then go into rich people's homes and pretty much just steal everything.
Just burgle the shit out of it. Yeah, they would wait till the family went on vacation and just clean them out. They would take they would steal so much shit. They would go on what they called shopping vacations, and they would like go to Manchester or Birmingham, somewhere around, and they would just kind of hit every shop and head on to the next town. They would leave empty suitcases at the train station and then fill them with stolen shit.
Go back home.
They were just damn good, you know.
The 40 elephants.
I did appreciate that it said one of their leaders, Mary Carr, inspired the play "The Worst Woman in London." Did you read that?
It's high praise.
Yeah, that's really that's good stuff.
Yeah.
And Mary Carr was one of two. They had two famous leaders. The other was called Alice Diamond or Diamond Annie, and they started calling her Diamond Annie because she would fight. She apparently her thing was she wore all these diamond rings, and she was really good at like turning them around and
getting after you.
With the diamonds. That was a different one. That was Hellcat Maggie from the Dead Rabbits.
Yeah.
Which I didn't. Hey, how about this? They say that she might have been made up by Herbert Asbury, the guy who wrote Gangs of New York, the book, which is so funny. I hope he did.
I can see that one. How committed to the game are you of fist and mouth fighting where you file your teeth down?
He's like writing about these. He's like, there aren't records of any of these people. I'm gonna throw in a monster lady.
Yeah.
And who's gonna call me on it?
Nobody. That's
nobody. Not a goddamn person. And when Martin Scorsese makes the movie of this shit in 100 years, he's gonna include it too. That's what Herbert Asbury said.
And we're gonna call him out 25 years later on a podcast.
That's right. But too late, suckers, because I'm safely in hell now. No, I'm kidding.
Justice has been served.
No, I love Herbert Asbury. That was a very fun book. I didn't finish it, but I enjoyed the parts. It's real thick, real dense. He gets into the weeds with a lot of shit, but it's also very funny. I remember they talked about how huge rat versus terrier fights were in the 5 point. That was a big. They show it a little in the movie actually too, but it was huge. It was rat versus terrier. Sometimes the terrier killing lots of rats in a short amount of time. Sometimes it would be a rat. It would be like a single rat the size of a terrier.
Ooh.
So it would be like straight up.
Yeah.
Weight class.
Run it. We're doing this for pink slips.
Yep, and they would.
But
they sure the fuck would.
That concludes our Gangs of Yesteryear.
Street Gangs of Yesteryear, we hardly knew ye.
Hardly knew ye. Anything going on with you?
I've been watching a lot of 60 Days In.
The jail one?
The jail one.
Is that the one where the guy like becomes the enforcer?
Oh, yes. There is one. But he's kind of an enforcer who never actually does violence. Like, I think he might... He like had people beat up technically, but he never beat anyone up himself. But he was really proud that he was like that. He's like, I'm the muscle. And he was really too proud of it.
Yeah.
But I love...
The premise of the show, I enjoy.
Yeah.
I think
they should put lots of reality shows. Just put them in jail. It would be very funny. Just do a season in jail real fast.
I think isn't there like they have to like try to find things out for the
which is it's like they're trying to get them killed too. Because these people are idiots, and they're like, you need to infiltrate the the criminal underbelly of this jail.
Like just this jail. It's dudes with DUIs just like hanging out.
Yeah, I also loved that there was season 1 towards the end of the season. Of course, it's like the climax of the season because a guy gets attacked. And the reason the guy gets attacked is there's this guy who's selling his meds, his antipsychotic meds. His name's Ricky.
Yeah.
And he's like, so he starts to believe the TV is telling him that this guy is a pedophile and that he needs to attack him. And he's going around telling everyone, the TV told me that this guy's evil and I need to attack. He's like, the other people in jail are going up to the guy on the show and be like, ooh, yeah, you might want to watch out, man. Ricky is off his meds, and he's pretty sure the TV's telling him to kill you. So he, sure enough, eventually attacks this guy. Yeah. He hits him in the face, and the guy gets up, and then that's ultimately the end of it. But season 2 we're watching, forgot all about Ricky. The season comes like the season's coming to a close, and all of a sudden there's this guy who's like fucking threatening. He's saying weird shit, and it takes me a minute to realize it's Ricky. Ricky's back. They brought him back like a big like SNL character. They brought him back for the season 2 finale, and it's the exact same shit. He's still selling his meds. The TV's still telling him to attack people. Nothing's been solved, which is the funniest shit, because the whole, like, it's bullshit. You know it's bullshit, but
fix this thing.
They're saying the reason why this isn't just dumb reality TV is because we're finding out what we need to fix about this jail. It's like the easiest thing. You got to make Ricky fucking. You got to do something about Ricky.
Ricky's got to take his meds.
I'm not going to try to do your job for you,
It's
but
our main takeaway for this season.
yeah. Get Ricky some help. I also had the thought, what if this is a really dark thought, but what if A&E was using their powers as a TV network to talk to Ricky through the TV? Like, they're like, Ricky,
Hey,
you know that guy's evil, right?
we need some action.
Ricky,
This season.
Ricky, this is God.
It's like the producers.
Ricky, you got to go attack Brandon right now.
like
and
a-
do it in full view of the camera, please.
It's like a producer on Real Housewives. It's just like, hey, Mandy called you a cunt earlier, right?
What do you think about that?
Wow, that's crazy, right?
Yeah.
You got any shows coming up?
Yeah, I sure do. I got, wait, I wrote them down, but then I forgot them. I got June the 7th, Petticolas Brewing.
Petticolas Brewing.
June the 12th, I got a 325 at Hyenas Dallas. And June the 13th, I'm at La Cantera in Bishop Arts. Don't ask me follow-up questions. I put a thing up on my Instagram about it, I think.
Well, I got June 5th, I'll be at the Addison Improv. And June 7th, I'm hosting the Dumb Zone Generic Summer event, which is going to be a lot of fun. It's like two guys used to be on the ticket. They have a really fun podcast, live show. I'm doing stand-up, and then they got two great bands, Prophets and Outlaws, and Grady Spencer and The Work will also be performing.
Hell yeah.
So, yeah.
It'll be a good time.
Any closing thoughts?
Yeah, I love how stupid 2020 is. Have you ever watched 2020? It's really fun.
Tell me about this.
I love there was a part they always just like they're like holding your hand through every bit of it. Like it's like the most like insulting the audience's intelligence constantly. And one time this homicide detective told the host, he was like, and we actually found DNA on that shirt. And the lady goes, and that's got to be big for you, doesn't it? Because that could lead to a suspect. And you're like, what are we doing? Like, we've all watched 1 billion hours of true crime. What are you doing? And then there was another one where this girl clearly had like made up a CIA agent character, and then they like had to chase down the lie. They were like, but get this, the emails came from the same IP address, but the emails from the CIA guy were all like, Janelle just posted pictures on Facebook, you should go like them, and stuff like that. It was like, I think we didn't need to chase that down. We didn't need the IP address.
We got him though.
We knew Agent Tom was Janelle the whole time.
Yeah.
He'd be like, he'd email her boyfriend and be like, you should take Janelle out to dinner. This is CIA Tom again from the CIA.
Hey, it's me. Just checking in.
But that lady got her dad and a friend to murder a couple for her.
That's not good.
Pretty dark.
Pretty dark. But yeah, with that, come see a show.
Yeah.
Like, subscribe, do the things.
Mash that motherfucking subscribe button.
Mash that motherfucking subscribe button. But until next time,
We love you all.
goodbye.
Au revoir.
Jimmy and Scott digging through the past. Crazy tales they uncover fast. History stranger than you think. They'll also talk about wieners in a blink. They'll talk about wieners in a blink. Oddball history.